I didn't know how important SNAP was until I became an investigator. Food stamps were created to prevent involuntary hunger, and now that has changed to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. It's a taxpayer-funded program, and if the taxpayers lose faith in the program, then the program starts to be compromised. When we have these people who desperately need help, it's my job to make sure that the program stays strong, so when they need it, it's ready to go. I am Dawn Royal. I'm a certified welfare fraud investigator. I'm the senior investigator from the great state of Wyoming. I've been a fraud investigator for 15 years. I'm a two-time past president of the United Council on Welfare Fraud and still serve on the board of directors. Program integrity are the pretty words that people have created so they don't have to say the ugly word of fraud. I'm not sure why fraud is an ugly word in SNAP because it occurs, and in Medicaid, all of our welfare programs. So why would we testify in front of the House of Representatives? Why have we looked so hard to get that seat at the table? And I think it's because lawmakers don't quite understand that fraud exists to the degree that it does. Whether it be the Senate, the House, the state legislature, the lawmakers in any way. If somebody asks the question about is there fraud, then they go to the agencies. So whether that be USDA, FNS, whether it be family services in their own state. And then the states or these agencies respond, I believe, with a shoulder shrug and give inaccurate data. When they're talking that fraud exists in less than 1% in SNAP, then the lawmakers go, wow, lucky, this is awesome, and then they move on. Well, that's just not the case. There's actually no real data to support this less than 1%. So what we're trying to do is to bring awareness up. The fraud rate is much, much higher than less than 1%. USDA spends less than 1/20th of 1% of the entire SNAP budget on the prevention, detection, and prosecution of fraud. That, again, is almost shocking that so little attention is paid. But they've spent years, and I don't mean 2 or 3, but at least 15 that I'm aware of, holding and clinging to this less than 1% fraud rate. And it's just absurd. I'm not terribly optimistic about the Farm Bill, quite honestly. I think a lot of the discussions about SNAP and the Farm Bill, disappointingly, aren't going to include a lot of fraud prevention measures. And it is kind of funny, you go someplace and, whether you're in an airport or a strange bar having a drink, killing time in the afternoon, and somebody sits down and they strike up a conversation. And it's always going to be, what do you do? That's what we do. We talk to people, what do you do? And if I feel like talking about it, I'll say I'm a welfare fraud investigator. If I don't, I say I work in an office, because there will be follow-up questions. Taxpayers want to know that this is happening. And I don't know why we don't receive more press, more limelight. Not because we want to be under bright lights, but because taxpayers want to know. It's very important. I find an enormous amount of pride. I like being the protectors of the program. I think it's very, very important what we do and that we do it well. There are a lot of needy people who need help. We don't interfere with that. We're looking for the greedy people who are stealing from the needy, and that's where we step in.